a hearing world, an evacuation alarm is frightening. In a deaf world, the lack of one is even more so. This was the first problem presented to us when Project Alert first met with Mission Heights Junior College's 14 deaf students. We took on this challenge to ensure that our deaf students would be safer during their time at Mission Heights Junior College. As a result of this, we have created a portable vibrating device that alerts our deaf students in case of a fire.
Let us take you on our journey.
As a first step, we looked at existing products, text messages, emergency alarms for the elderly, and restaurant pages. We learned from every solution, but none was a fit. So we set out to create our own transmitter and receiver. We needed to know about electronics, so we dived into an unexplored expanse of new technology. We were real beginners with electronics. Our research went far and wide: radio frequencies, electronic components, online forums, and even the properties of sound-reducing glass. At last, we were ready to make our first circuit diagrams.
Our first prototypes were on breadboard. No, not that type. This allowed us to take components off if we needed. As we began to create our own circuit, we reduced the size to one breadboard. As for our receiver, this took a bit more work. We built prototype 1 on the breadboard. After much trial and error, when we had it working, we simplified our design and created the final receiver on VeroBoard. Our receiver was small enough to meet our design criteria. Our Raspberry Pi. Why are you always thinking about food? It's actually a mini computer, and the transmitter fit comfortably into our switch box. The receiver fits into a tic-tac box. Dylan, really? More food? We made sure that the deaf students could personalize their devices by decorating their tic-tac box. If learning electronics wasn't enough, we then had to tackle programming. After learning how to set up a Raspberry Pi through Google and FAQs on websites, we wrote our first program in Bash script, a type of programming language. At this point of our project, we attached the switch to our Raspberry Pi, which sends a signal to the transmitter. The transmitter then sends the signal to the receiver, and this activates the vibrating alarm.
We're pretty pleased with ourselves at this stage, but then we were given a suggestion for the Raspberry Pi to be activated through sound recognition, another programming challenge. We used the Python script to convert the sound of the fire alarm to frequencies. To put it simply, if the frequencies match our set frequencies, this triggers the Raspberry Pi to send a message to the transmitter, which relays the message to our receiver. We now had a sophisticated working product, but we wanted to make it more reliable and sustainable.
We therefore added 2 chips, not that type, to remove any interference. We then had to boost the voltage from 3 volts to 5 volts because of the new components. The final step was to make our receiver on a printed circuit board. We also added a recharging circuit so that the deaf students can recharge their devices, as well as reduce the cost of batteries and improve sustainability. As our project developed, it created a huge interest in the community. Newspapers, TV, engineering magazines, and websites, and we had received generous funding to support our project. We were very excited to be approached by the New Zealand Fire Service, who have endorsed our project.
Throughout the process, we had a close relationship with the deaf students and their teachers, and we are not just doing it for them, but with them. We keep them up to date with our progress.
But what made taking on this challenge so worthwhile was how the deaf students felt. They have never felt so valued, and this was shown through the way they interacted with the team in school grounds. What once was a detached and isolated group of students due to their disability had changed to something entirely different.
They would wave and smile every time we see them, and this put a huge smile on our faces too. We reciprocated the warm greetings. This project has been a huge benefit to our deaf students, but also to us.